moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Monday, 11th November 2024. We're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi. It is Remembrance Day, and so we take some time to remember those who went to war for their countries far and wide. Yes, we pay homage this morning to all our veterans who took the brave step to go and fight for what they believe to be right. We have a wonderful show lined up for you this morning, and we're so happy that you've chosen us this morning to be your number one choice for morning show here in Tobago. So whether you're viewing us from right here in Tobago, in Trinidad, in the Caribbean region, the United States of America, in Canada, the United Kingdom, the continent of Africa or Asia or Australia, we say welcome and thank you so much for choosing us this morning. And we do hope that you could stay with us throughout the entire programming this morning. But before we get into all our conversations this morning, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, 11th November 2024. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, in a presentation on Tobago's autonomy, highlighted the historical and ongoing struggle of Tobago for self-determination. He noted since gaining independence in 1962, Trinidad and Tobago has generally overlooked efforts to decolonize the relationship between the islands, often denying Tobago's quest for autonomy. Augustine noted that the recent bills in Parliament represents Tobago's latest attempt to achieve a legal and institutional framework of self-governance. This push aligns with international human rights standards, emphasizing that the right to self-determination recognized by the United Nations should enable Tobago to contribute more effectively to Trinidad and Tobago's development. Up next, Finance Minister Colin Imbert has defended Trinidad and Tobago's fixed foreign exchange rate, emphasizing its role in controlling inflation despite International Monetary Fund's call for more flexibility. The IMF, citing the need to align with its policies, has long urged TNT to remove forex restrictions and allow the exchange rate to fluctuate. However, Imbert argued that floating the dollar would raise the cost of living without increasing forex availability. Meanwhile, opposition MP Devandranath Thakur stressed that while the opposed devaluation, transparent forex allocation and policies fostering investment are essential to resolving the crisis. And finally, Barataria Sanwan MP Saddam Hussein has called on Attorney General Reginald Amor to disclose the fees paid to attorneys representing the state in a recent Privy Council hearing in London. The case involved an appeal by Finance Minister Colin Imbert and the Cabinet concerning constitutionality of an investigation into Auditor General Juanita Ramdas, which Hussein feared could compromise the Auditor General's independence. Hussein criticized the appeal as a misuse of public funds and urged the Attorney General to account for all expenses, including legal fees and travel costs, especially given recent requests for significant legal budget allocations. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. Of course, you know, our news always highlights things that, you know, affect our way of life here on the island of Tobago. And we're talking about the bills before the Parliament, that conference that the Chief Secretary had there over the weekend, you know, talking about what is presented in the Parliament, and you know, given a history of where it started, the conversation about autonomy for Tobago began. And you know, at this point, you know, there was something that he mentioned, talking about not only having the conversation around an election time, and history would show you that that is the time the conversation seems to be heightened the most. And as a Tobagonian, it is time for us to stop playing gimmicks. You know, we want to move the conversation from where it is into some type of action. It is time for us to not just use, you know, things that affect our lives to dangle a carrot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping that we can really see some sort of implementation. We want to see some kind of action. And I feel as if Tobagonians need to get up, we need to rise up, we need to make our voices heard, and we need to be serious about the things that matter to us here on the island. Whether we accepting or we're not accepting, we need to have a clear vision as to where we want to go and how we want to get things done together. We need to rally together and ensure that we get these, whether we get the bills passed or we have the conversation revisited, but something must be done. We can't be having these conversations 20 years again from now in the same position that we are. This is ridiculous and we need to move forward with it. I'm sure you will agree, and most people from Tobago will agree with the position that we have taken. We had a Monday morning, we came out of the weekend. A nice weekend, you know. On Sunday yesterday, I think Assembly Legislature, together with the Tobago branch of the Royal Ex-Services, they hosted the parade there for the veterans, Remembrance Day veterans, at the James Park area there yesterday. You know, unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but I'm certain it was a beautiful parade and event. You know,
and it was nice to see that Mr. Legal, instead of, you know, being wheeled in on a wheelchair, he walked in. So that was, you know, something, you know, of good to remember.
That's right. That's right. You know, and, you know, it really is heartwarming to see people coming around. And what I really hope will come out of things like this is that we get young people educated, give them the education and the history so that they can have an appreciation as to where we are and the things that brought us to this position that we're in now. The people who fought, who went ahead, the brave ones, you know, get those names out there so people can hear them and know them and understand what they did for us here on the island of Tobago. And I hope that we could continue, even, you know, in now that we could celebrate those who are with us, the older ones who teach us the things that make us who we are, the foundation principles that we have coming up in communities across the island of Tobago.
But one thing I want us to note, we should have started the celebrations a bit earlier on the 1st of November, but the celebration still continues, or the appreciation still continues until the 30th of November, and that's Men's Month. So November is Men's Month. So we need to appreciate the men.
Of course. International Men's Day is the 19th of November, in fact, and it is a very, very dear cause to my heart. You might recall last year I was part of the International Men's Day Regional Conference Committee, and we hosted the first one in Grenada, and you will hear about this year's one by about the end of the week thereabout, as it relates to what we're doing this year in the Caribbean for International Men's Day. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And it is very, very important. Once men know their position in society, I believe that we will have a beautiful space to live in. And we need to continue empowering men and giving them their space, and stop competing with men. There is in no life, in no reality would I ever want to be a man or do what a man does. Let a man be a man and a woman be a woman. Thank you, Bianna, so much for joining us on set this morning and having that conversation. I do have a wonderful day and a wonderful week.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. All right, and on screen we start off the celebrations by saying happy birthday to Shalon Kerr. Happy birthday to Shalon Kerr. We do hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we pray God's blessings upon your life, and we hope that you know, you experience the blessings of God as you walk into this new chapter of your life. Next is Kenya Yaya Corner. Yes, she is celebrating as well. And we do hope that you have a wonderful day, Kenya Yaya Corner, you know, representing Tobago out there in the football world. We do hope that you have a wonderful day today, and we pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful season this year. Avian Hercules, if you know Avian at all, I'm sure her Christmas tree has been up mostly months ago, you know. So Avian, we want to wish you a happy birthday, a happy season, and we pray God's blessings upon your life. And if I could find some parang before the program is finished this morning, I'll play just for you, and I'm sure you will absolutely enjoy that this morning. So happy birthday to you. On screen next, we have Alvin Dougie Douglas celebrating as well. I think over the weekend he had his birthday celebrated there, and we do want to say happy belated birthday to you, and we pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. On screen, we have Sparkle Alexander John. It's also a belated birthday for Sparkle, and Sparkle, we do pray God's blessings upon your life. We do hope you had a wonderful weekend and a beautiful year ahead. So happy birthday to you. Vanessa Boyce also celebrated yesterday. We want to say happy birthday to you, Vanessa, and we do hope that you enjoy the blessings of God upon your life, and whatever you do, may your hands prosper. So happy birthday to you. My dear and darling friend, this is Sherry-Ann Roach. Sherry-Ann Roach, I want to say happy belated birthday. She celebrated yesterday, Sherry-Ann, and we do pray God's blessings upon your life. What a beautiful, beautiful soul. Sherry-Ann is one of the most beautiful, humble, and down-to-earth persons I know on the planet. So, girl, I want to give you all the love today. I know your birthday was yesterday, but I pray God's blessings upon your life, and I do hope you have a wonderful, wonderful season. And Garrett McKellar, yes, Garrett McKellar, entrepreneur here on the island of Tobago, Mr. Number One hustler, yep, always looking for the business opportunities. So this morning, Garrett, we want to say happy birthday to you, and we do pray God's blessings upon your life, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day today. So happy birthday to you as well. It's Monday morning, so you might be wondering what's in my cup. What's in my cup is sponsored by LCJ Delights, and this morning I am drinking sorrel bay leaf tea. Listen, I didn't even realize the flavors in this tea. So beautiful. It's rich in quality and taste, and the flavor is absolutely amazing. And so I want to say thank you to LCJ Delights this morning for sponsoring my drink this morning. And you too can have your drink from LCJ Delights. They provide teas, porridges, flour to make your pancakes, your waffles, and all your breakfast menus as well. They also provide premium mixed nuts as well, so you can contact them for your very own. Who are we speaking with this morning in studio? So this morning we start off our conversation by speaking with a representative from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services, Inspector Mahalia Bacchus. We speak about the crime updates here on the island of Tobago, as well as the topic of suicide. We're going to have that conversation this morning. And then we speak with Mr. Javon Williams and Ajani Abraham, who are both mentors for the Mentorship program, as they mentor men, of course, as the name suggests. So you want to be a part of that conversation as well. And then we wrap things up by speaking with contestants from the upcoming, semi-finals of the Tobago Star Quest. We're going to hear about their journey and what their expectations are as they take the stage for the first semi-finals, which takes place this Thursday at the Shore Park Complex. So do be a part of the conversation. So whether you're here in Tobago and you're looking at us on our Facebook live stream, on our YouTube channel, or on Amplia 102, we hope that you could stay tuned for the entire programming this morning, and that you can be a part of the conversation. Remember, you can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and our YouTube live stream as well, so we can know your thoughts. Thank you for being a part of the conversation and for always giving us your comments and your recommendations. So we do hope you could stay with us throughout the programming. But before we get into all of those conversations, we must go for a short break. And as we go for a break, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With Amplia TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with Amplia's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 GB fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With Amplia, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. Amplia. Do more, live more.
Standards Black Friday deal starts now with 35% off select television, 30% off select appliances, 25% off Christmas decor, 15% off select divans, 20% off select furniture, and you can shop in store and online. Standards Black Friday deal. Nobody beats us on price. Believe it.
Get ready for Tobago Star Quest Next Level 2024. Join us for an unforgettable night of talent and excitement as Tobago Star Quest, in collaboration with Tobago Updates, presents the first semi-final on Thursday, November 14th, 2024, and the second semi-final on November 28th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. Celebrate the incredible talent from across Tobago's communities and witness a showcase like no other. Admission is just $50. Don't miss your chance to support the stars of tomorrow. See you there.
Tobago, your voice matters. The Police Complaints Authority invites the public to its community outreach session. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to attend and give us feedback. Join us Thursday, 14th November at the Canaan Bonaccord Multipurpose Facility from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come share your thoughts, raise your concerns, and learn about how the PCA serves to ensure accountability within our police service. Your input makes a difference. Let's work together for a safer, stronger community. The Police Complaints Authority. Independence, integrity, and transparency in action.
Attention members, now is your chance to double or even triple your dividend payment with no increase in your existing loan payment. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to boost your dividends effectively. Whether you're planning a vacation or simply looking to maximize your savings, we've got you covered. Call us today at 639-8226 or 631-1336. Message us on Facebook for more information. Hurry, this offer won't last long. Bethel Credit Union, because we see you at BCU.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning by speaking with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus of the TTPS, and this morning she is going to bring the crime updates for us as well as speak a little bit on the topic of the matter of suicide. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adana, and good morning to Tobago and the rest of our listening public.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here this morning.
Right, and it's always a pleasure, speaking with our members from the TTPS as we have the conversations and they bring the information to us. We always like to know where we are in terms of activities on the island of Tobago. And we know so far we had a spur a couple of months ago where things kind of seemed as if it was getting out of control. But for the most part, I believe it's been a little bit quiet. From our standpoint, but let us know a little bit as to what has been happening in terms of any activities of crime or apprehension or charges or anything that is happening there where that is concerned.
Okay, so Adana, the TTPS in the Tobago division, we continue to work and the officers are out there working hard. It manifests itself as you see our presence on the outside continuously on a daily basis throughout the entire island, from Charlottesville to Crown Point. You could assure that you could see the police officers on the outside working in the Scarborough area as well too. So we have been doing, and we've been doing a lot. Just over the past week, I'm happy to report that the officers, we have a new intelligence unit on board and a combination of our CID divisional task force, and these officers led to the arrest of a male individual who is supposed to appear before the court today, charged with 2.9 kilograms of marijuana on the Scarborough port. So this is part of our efforts to stem the flow of drugs between our local or ports of call within Trinidad and Tobago. So I'm pleased to report that this morning we were also having a few reports of break-in, particularly in the Sherburne district, which is like the Switzerland, Mount Pleasant area. And we were able to arrest two males, three of which are juveniles, who are also would also appear before the court, hopefully between today and tomorrow, charged for several of these house breakings and larcenies in that space as well. So the officers out there working. We continue to focus on our drug block exercises. You will see us doing our raid and searches. There are persons who would also have received tickets on the roadway for infractions not obeying the rules on the roadway as well too. So we are out there we are doing what we are supposed to do, and we remain focused and resilient towards achieving our objectives and our goals in the TTPS, in the Tobago space.
And, you know, of course, it's always happy to hear when there's an arrest. And we're always happy to hear when charges will be laid and, you know, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we want to live in a space that is safe and that is peaceful, that we could all enjoy. You don't want to be walking on the streets and looking over your shoulder and wondering who is walking behind me. You know, funny I said that is that I think I had a moment like that over the weekend. I was walking and there was somebody behind me and something fell from them. And it made me, I was startled a little bit, but it was just a young guy walking and he had a water bottle in his hand and it fell from him. So, you know, getting us back to a place where we don't have to feel that type of way is very, very important. And I do want to lend the support to the TTPS and all the other agencies who are, you know, working towards ensuring crime reduces on the island of Tobago so that we can have a safe space. We want to attract visitors. We want to attract tourists. We want the economy to come back to where it was. And we don't want here to be contaminated with situations of crime.
So true.
Right. And so the topic this morning is we're talking about suicide in Trinidad and Tobago, and specifically in the Tobago space. I mean, I want to talk a little bit about, from your perspective and your experience when having to do investigations, what are some of the causes that kind of leads towards the act of suicide?
All right. So first of all, I'd like to explain suicide is actually more defined as death caused by self-harm, or if you have the intention, because some persons attempt to also commit suicide and probably it's thwarted before the actual act is carried out. But the idea is the goal of dying. The person intends to harm themselves, to die, right? So some of the things that we have to look at, we have to pay attention to our family, our loved ones, our friends as well too, because there are people who silently cry out for help, and we fail to observe or to understand, because, you know, body language sometimes it carries a lot without words being said. People say a lot through how they conduct themselves or the things that they do, and sometimes we fail to observe where a person is actually depressed. So sometimes severe depression is one of the signs that you could observe. The person might when he reach to a point where they have sleeping disorders, they're unable to function properly, that kind of thing. You know, also you find people withdrawing themselves socially, recluse. They end up not mixing, they're not going out anymore, you know, and if that's not the stance that they had before, then obviously it's a sign that something is wrong. So we have to look at that. People being stressed out a lot, you know, and worrying over, you know, minor things. There are some people who also, they speak about the suicide. They speak about trying to kill themselves to persons, and it is ignored. Some people take it for granted that they're just probably saying something and like, shut them out, you know, that kind of thing. But they actually tell you that is what they're going to do. And some people carry out the act. There are some people who put it in writing as well too, right? We have social media. If you take a look at some people's status, sometimes it's quite alarming what they may put up. I'm fed up of this life. They might be making a threat to actually harm themselves. It is important that we see these things and actually reach out to the individual, speak to them. You know, whilst as police officers, we are not medical practitioners, we are not certified psychiatrists or anything like that. But when you observe these things, if it is reported to us or we see somebody in this condition, we could actually assist in probably doing a referral, because we would have been called to homes already where people lock themselves away in a bathroom or in some situation, and you have to go try to talk them out of it. So if you realize the extent of it or what they would have done, maybe cutting themselves, that kind of thing, you actually have to try to get a referral done so that this person can get some help before it reaches to the point where they actually commit the suicide.
And is there a branch or a section or department in the TTPS that deals specifically with this type of situation? I know there's a community police, I know there are different arms, but is there a specific division or a department that deals with this type of situation where you might get a call or you might be in a meeting, you observe some type of behavior? I know you said you're not medical practitioners, of course, but I know that you have special types of training. So is there a department that deals with this specifically?
We don't have a specific department because the call may come to an officer who is working in our charge room area and he has to respond. But if it comes to the point where there's a referral or there's somewhere that some officers, like within the community policing space, might have some training in counseling. Even some of them in the charge room space and all may have been trained, but that it might be basic. And if you're talking about suicide, you're looking at a person reaching to an extent where it is drastic. So at that point, you need a professional on board. So we will try to refer the person probably to the social services department where you have an actual a certified medical practitioner or psychiatrist attached there who could provide that assistance to the person. If we receive a phone call, we could also do the referral, but encourage the person to use the hotline, right? Because there are suicide hotlines in Trinidad and Tobago that a person could call and you will meet a trained person on the other line who could probably guide them through some and get them some help before it reaches to the stage where they actually commit the act.
And as I mentioned before, I know there are different types of police, like, for instance, community policing. What are some of the things that you do to support persons who have those tendencies? Let's say, for instance, you're doing observations. You might observe something happening in a social media space, or you might observe something, let's say the police youth club. You might realize that something is taking place there. What type of support or action does the police take when they realize, listen, we need to, whether it is to resolve a conflict or whether it is to provide support to the family, whether it is to have, whatever it is, how do you, outside of a referral, how do you kind of combat or kind of put that measure of support for that person or that group of persons who might be leaning towards those types of tendencies?
All right. So just as you said, it depends on the stage at which this is. So I'm saying if it is something that is already drastic, we wouldn't try to be the person trying to say I'm helping you directly, because we would not be able to. But if it's something that you just observe the sign, as you said, we could probably get into that home. And as I mentioned, the same community policing officers, you could look at what is probably the issue, because suicide has no age group or age limit. Anybody can. I know of a case where there was a young man. For today, he has been he's still like in a vegetable state, because he tried to commit suicide. And remember, lack of oxygen to your brain, it could damage your brain and so on. So it left him in that state for today. And he's a mere child. So it could affect anyone. And in a case like that, you could go into the home to probably look at and assess to see what the situation really is, what would have caused the child to really reach to the stage of or wanting to speak about the suicide, to write about it, to put something like that on their status. What is really going on, right? It could be something happening in the school space. Recently, we saw where the bullying caused the young man to take his own life. So you have to find sometimes the root cause of what is happening. And if we can intervene within that space, which does not require deeply professional, then we will try to put systems in place and see how best we could help the individual.
And as you're talking about that, when, like, for instance, for vulnerable age groups, what type of advice would you give to persons who are responsible for younger people, like parents or guardians or teachers? You're talking about the signs that they will show. They will change their behavior. They might become more, a recluse. They might not be talking as much or outgoing as much. What are some of the things, in wrapping this conversation, would you want to advise the parents or the guardians or the teachers to pay attention to the vulnerable groups of people in the society, to ensure that they have the measure of support in the event they feel a little volatile or they feel fragile in their emotions, or that they have that support and they know that somebody is there caring for them, and that all is not lost and there is a way to recover from the way they feel at that point in time?
So what I would advise is that it is important, especially if you are supervising persons, to really get to know them, to understand their behaviors, their patterns, what they do, what they would not do, and really try to understand if a child is being rebellious, what could be the possible reasons that this child could be behaving this way. If they are drawing stuff, if they are writing stuff, as I said before, what could be the root cause? Where is this coming from? If you have not seen this behavior before, where has it suddenly come from? So something could be troubling this child, and it may be important that you could probably have a conversation. A lot of schools now have guidance counselors attached to them. So as a teacher, you could probably have the guidance counselor come on board to have a conversation with the child to see really what's going on, because they would be actually trained to actually do an assessment to see what stage the child is at and how much help they will need. So if it is observed at an early stage, then intervention can be done pretty much early and could prevent the person or the child or so to from going down that road of actually committing suicide.
You know, very, very important, of course, to pay attention to the people around us. Sometimes we really take things for granted. In your opening, you did mention that sometimes somebody might actually tell you that they're going to do it. And based on our culture, we say, you're talking nonsense, relax yourself, when somebody really is going through it. So we really need to provide those spaces where people are free to speak and express themselves, and also to lend that measure of support.
And listening, listen as well too.
Actively listen and take action to, you know, what is being said or even not said sometimes. You know, in closing, are there any closing points you want to share with our viewers this morning? Well, for sure, Adana, we are fast approaching the Christmas season. So I'm appealing to persons on the outside for us to be a bit more mindful of our environment, our home space, how we secure our homes. This is still a problem in Tobago. People have stuff exposed, right? The brush cutters and so on. And I'm also appealing to the general public. There are persons might be going around asking you to purchase items, and you know that they don't have the means or so to even buy this to sell it back to you. It is not a new item, and there are people who are buying it from them. All right. So I'm asking persons, when you come across people who are trying to sell you a television, a brush cutter, a game, a laptop, and you know it does not belong to them, please contact the police. Because if it is that you are found with a stolen item, you yourself can be prosecuted for having these items in your possession. So I'm appealing to the general public in Tobago. When this information comes to you and persons are trying to sell you these hot items, please contact the police. That's right. That's right. You don't want to spend that festive season in a place where you might not get some ham and sorrel, you know. Seriously though, is something that you really need to pay attention to, because there are a lot of persons out there who are trying, you know, to be mischievous at that time of the year. So safeguard your property and also report any infractions you might see happening in your communities. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services, bringing for us the crime updates here on the island of Tobago and speaking on the matter of suicide and how to identify when someone is going through something and the measure of support you can lend to them as well. Thank you so much for staying with us up until now, but we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations here in studio. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Are you an architect or draftsman looking to upgrade your skills, or a beginner eager to master essential tools? ReCAD Labs has the solution. Our Revit Architecture Fundamental Tobago course is designed to boost your skills and confidence. Running from October 6th to November 17th, this course includes a live session on November 17th for hands-on learning. Learn from experts in our virtual classroom and stay ahead in the world of architecture. Visit recadlabs.com to enroll now and follow us on social media for updates.
Black Friday starts now at Quartz. Get new and amazing deals every week with the lowest prices on the hottest electronics, top-of-the-line appliances, and stylish furniture. No need to waste your time shopping around. Plus, you can shop now and pay us in February 2025. Black Friday starts now. Don't miss out. Quartz, bringing value home.
Hey everyone, it's time to stand up and make a difference. This year, we're coming together for the walk against crime. Bright and early at 5:30 a.m. on November 15th, we will be walking through the village of Golden Lane. And guess what? After our walk, there will be a delicious breakfast waiting just for you. And that's not all. Get ready for an aerobics burnout session where we'll be moving, grooving, and having fun.
Let's show that we care about our community. When we work together, we're sending a message. We want to live in a safe, happy place, free from crime. So grab your sneakers, tell your friends, and get ready to be a part of something big.
Remember, it's not just a walk, it's a way to show we all have the power to help make our world better. See you there!
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. This morning we shift gears a little bit. As you know, we're in the month where we celebrate men. It's International Men's Day on the 19th of November each year. And we speak to two young men who are mentors, Javan Williams and Ajani Abraham from the Restorers of the Breach Ministries. And we're talking about mentorship, very, very important topic, of course, in the spaces that we occupy, especially when you think about what is happening in our societies, especially in the Caribbean region and primarily here in Tobago. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right. It's a pleasure having you here this morning, as I mentioned before, especially as young men in the space that we now occupy, as you realize what is happening in our nation, what is happening on the streets, and, young people, getting involved in things that they should not be involved in. And here we have two young men who are mentors, right? And we're talking about mentorship. So we want to talk a little bit about what is mentorship and who you guys are in terms of being mentors in that space.
Well, mentorship, the name was birthed from, of course, mentor and using the word shift. So the idea is that we are mentoring young persons to shift their destinies forward and by extension shift our island, Tobago and Trinidad by extension forward. Our idea is shifting destinies, shifting people into purpose, shifting people into their calling, and people understanding some of the difficult questions as a young person. Why am I here? Why am I born? Who am I? Identity, and where am I going? So mentorship has created a platform for young persons to be nurtured and be real and talk about the real stuff, and us being able to transfer and provide the necessary help necessary for them to grow and move forward. So my name is Giovanni Williams, and I'm one of the mentors there at Mentorship.
Right. And what are some of the, before I get to what are some of the things you discuss, what type of age group you're looking at when you say young people? Because I know internationally a young person goes up to 35, I think. But what is the kind of age group you look at in terms of your target audience?
So we're looking at from the age of 17 right up to about 30. Now, there's some flexibility with the limit going beyond 30, but we're basically looking at that age bracket.
All right. And Ajani, tell us a little bit.
Good morning. So my name is Ajani Abraham, and yes, I'm also one of the mentors of the mentorship group. And coming from the mentorship, I'm also a youth leader, right, at the Destiny Shakers in the same Restorers of the Breach. From the same, right before the age limit to go over to the mentorship. So I basically have a balance team with both young persons and young adults like myself and older, right? And coming from a youth leader, I still have that perspective of mentoring the youths as well, where when they reach to the age limit to go over to mentorship, they'll be able to go over having both a balance of knowledge from before and then going into an advanced level of the mentorship.
Yeah, having that foundation is absolutely necessary to know you, so that they wouldn't be, you wouldn't just drop them from space into another space, right? So they have that type of foundation there, which is very, very good. What are some of the things that you discuss? Because you mentioned finding your purpose, understanding who you are, walking in destiny. What are some of the primary things that you have your main discussion centered around? Young people is a very, very unique group of people. As you rightfully say, sometimes you don't know who you are, you question yourself. So what are some of the hot topics that come up in conversation while you are in meetings?
Yes, well, I'm a young person who had a lot of questions, and fortunately I was able to find the answers to some of those questions, and if I should say majority of those questions. So I would also like to say that mentorship, we are connected to a church, but the organization and the group is not a church. We are connected to the church because I believe that your purpose and fulfilling your call and who you are called to be is connected and connected with having a relationship with God. So but we talk about things like values. Who am I? As I said before, why am I here? Some of the questions that you may not find just lying around there on the YouTube. Things like values, infatuation versus true love. We talk about basically everything. 2 weeks ago, we had someone in talking about budgeting, finances, and then of course, we talk about the spiritual side of stuff. We talk about counseling, the importance of being healed from traumas and pains. We like to do the full works, and Restores of the Breach fortunately has counselors connected. We have people who can help and do the full and the holistic development of the young person.
And in general, what are your numbers like, or the responses from your participants? Are they actively engaged? Do they actively ask these questions and look for the answers when you sit together in this mentorship space?
Definitely. Is it possible I could just read the mission and vision
so
that persons could have an idea what we discuss? So our mission: empowering young individuals to discover, embrace, and cultivate their divine purpose. We strive to create a supportive community that nurtures and develops unique gifts, talents, potentials by providing solid Christian teaching as a guide towards fulfilling destiny. Our vision: to raise up an army of young individuals who will become agents of change, transformation, leading their lives, social spaces, and spheres of influence confidently with the principle of God's love, values, power, and wisdom in their everyday lives. What to expect in mentorship? Expect an environment that is conducive to holistic growth in areas of financial literacy, passion, love for God, emotional intelligence, kingdom-based principles. Let me repeat that again. Kingdom-based principles necessary for the journey of success. You can anticipate to be encouraged, to be inspired, and to be filled with optimism, but not ignorant to the fact that there may be challenges on the way to fulfilling your purpose. In this community, look forward to being nurtured by growth partners, support partners who would build you up, celebrate you, remind you of your strengths and where you may need to improve. Expect to learn enough that you want to improve. Expect to learn enough that you want to change. Expect to learn enough that you are inspired to grow.
Can you imagine, I was listening to the part where you spoke about your vision. Can you imagine that vision coming to life and the impact that it will cause on the space that you occupy? I know that's what you're working towards, but when it actualizes, can you imagine the great impact, the change, the social change that you will bring in the space that you are now occupying, the impact it will have on the lives of the people to whom you are speaking when they realize who they are and the power that they have within? And something you said that is very important is having a connection and a relationship with the Almighty God. I too, as a believer, I do believe it is very, very important, and that's where you find your true self. And while you talk about all the other areas of life as a holistic person, I want you to emphasize how important it is to ensure that you have that biblical foundation, understanding who you are, where you came from, how you came to be, who made you, you know. So what percentage of your time do you spend ensuring that they have that foundation before you speak about the other aspects of life, because that is where you came from and that is where everything else springs from?
Definitely. But I will go before I will allow my other mentor here to share in just a moment. I would share this scripture that I hold very dearly, as the word of God says that seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all shall be added. He says, I missed a part there, he says, seek ye first the kingdom and all righteousness, and then he would add. I believe seeking God, seeking who he is, understanding who he is, spending time to find out who is your creator, why he designed you, gives you a sense of purpose in terms of everything that was created has a manual. Everything that was designed has a manual. And how to maximize the potential of that thing is important to read the manual so that you would understand how to maximize the thing. For example, a cell phone. Sometimes we have cell phones and we don't maximize it because sometimes we never spend time to read and go through the features. And same thing as a human being. I believe the manual for living a life and establishing a life upon the earth is to read the word of God and understand your creator, and reading the manual, and that manual is the Bible. I believe that every young person, every individual, as a matter of fact, should read and understand the word of God and the manual, and I believe that would design, create, stir up, and bring all the necessary tools, ideas, belief system, resilience, the love, the passion, all the tools necessary to create a fulfilled and a well-rounded and holistic life where your finances could be healthy, your marriage can be healthy, your relationship parent to child can be healthy. I believe the Bible is well-rounded and full with principles and teachings that could create a human being who is unstoppable. And in the mentorship space, the reality is there are persons who are not saved, and we are opening up mentorship to persons who are not saved, or persons who are not into or not a part of a church. So we invite, and today we are inviting persons who are just looking for a space to share, to grow, to speak, to be healed, to be encouraged. So we're not looking for necessarily only the person that is in church. We're looking for the young person who needs some guidance, who needs some help, who needs someone to talk to, who maybe is going through a situation they don't know where to turn. So we are inviting persons who want to be a part, and they're within that age group. And of course, so I try not to speak only on the scriptures or only just on the word, but I use the principles of the word to share on everything else. So I like to emphasize the base is the word, but sometimes I vary.
Life happens. Yeah, life happens. Yeah.
Yes, correct as what Giovanni said. And also in mentorship now, this community is a safe space for persons, so person can feel comfortable to share the experience, and we as the leaders and as the mentors will be able to assist them and give them godly counseling and positive counseling. And if it is that we don't have the knowledge or the information that we can give to them, at times our apostles will be there, so they themselves will be able to pick up from what we don't have efficient information to give, and they themselves will be able to say, all right, so based on what Giovanni and Ajani said, they are correct, but also you could also try doing this or doing that,
reinforcing the principle.
Yeah, reinforcing the principle and giving them more information where they can be able to understand more, right? And also in mentorship, we don't focus on ourselves. We also want to hear from what the mentees have to say. And as leaders, we also want to develop leaders in them as well, where they themselves can also mentor someone else that will be more comfortable and will be able to open up to them rather than open up to us at that point in time, right? And some other things that we could also, persons can expect in mentorship, as Giovanni rightfully said, more about holistic growth and financial literacy and stuff like this. We also have a vision or a plan to also go into like the schools, right? So we're not only limiting it to coming to the community where we are at our church location, but we want to like go into the schools and be able to share the same values that we share there with the young persons in the school, because the schools also need that form of mentoring as well in areas where the school doesn't provide it. We as well could also implement that or try our best to share that same information in the secondary school, the primary school, still having that base going up. So if they're planning on going into the university, they still have that information that, you know, there is a God, right? They will be able to still identify where their purpose is, right? And also have a vision where they could say, okay, if it is that I'm going into medicine, how can I communicate with my patients and letting them know God, and also giving them godly advice if that patient ends up losing hope. That person who came or was birthed from mentorship, you know, we have that knowledge and that information with God to still share with that person as well. Also, one more thing, there's a scripture that we also use for this mentorship, which is Ecclesiastic 12:11, where it says, remember the Creator in your youth, right? So as young person, we have to know that while we are young, we have the strength, we have the knowledge, we have the information where we could put that knowledge and that strength as a young person into doing positive stuff rather than the negative, right? And if we push forward that scripture, we will know that God wants us young and vibrant, right? Although persons will end up knowing God at a later age in life, you still have that as a young person now, getting all that information and that knowledge at that young age. When you reach the age of 13, you have efficient information that you know you can share and stuff like that.
You know, and you know, as you're talking about the scriptures, you know, the word of God says, train up a child in the way that he should grow. You know, teach them from young. And I like the fact that you mentioned earlier that bridge that you have, where you have the group of younger youths as well as the mentees in this capacity. So you kind of have that bridge between getting the foundation knowledge and then getting into the meat of the matter as it pertains to life. What days do you meet and what time?
We meet every Monday, so today we will meet at 6 p.m. The location is Orange Hill Road. The actual location is Orange Hill Road, Scarborough. If I should give a landmark, it's before the ice factory in Orange Hill.
Right, and you know, as the guys mentioned before, it is open to anyone who is within the age groups between 17 to 30, of course, with some little leeway up or down. And it's not necessarily just for believers, but you come into that space, and as Ajani said, it's a safe space where you can have conversations pertaining to life, where you'll be taught guiding principles from the Bible, because that is the foundation of the organization, and they want to ensure that they can lend that measure of support to young people. And I want to congratulate especially young men, you know, because if we've been realistic, we see on the streets, the young men are the ones who are getting in trouble. And here we have two young men who decided that I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be on the other side of the statistics, helping other young people and leading them to their passion and leading them to their destiny and their calling. So I must say congratulations to you. And I want to take this opportunity now to say Happy International Men's Day to you, which is taking place on the 19th of November. And I do hope that you have a wonderful day. And I also want to wish you the very best, and I hope that people come out and you get the support that you need in terms of expanding the mentorship and the mentorship rather. And I do hope that your members are able to take the package that you're giving to them and implement it. Ajani, how remarkable would it be to know that you have mentored someone, as you mentioned, who turns out to be a medical practitioner, and then when they get into the field of medicine, they can say, you know, I learned this at mentorship, I applied it to my life, and my life has changed. My perspective has changed, and now I can share it with someone else. You know, so I want to wish you guys the very best. And in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers this morning?
Definitely, I would like to share a contact. My contact is 318-6486 that you can call. I also want to share with the leaders of the organization and the holistic organization, Resource with the Breach Ministry. So I will give you a contact for the apostle, one of the apostles of the house, Josan Alabidaya. So I will give you her contact. It's 344-6495. So you could contact her if you need further information. Let's say you are a parent with a child and you want to have that child facilitated. You can call either me or you could call the apostle of the house for information on how to move forward.
Absolutely amazing stuff here this morning. Thank you guys so much for coming this morning, sharing that information and bringing that measure of encouragement in our spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Giovanni Williams and Ajani Abraham of the Mentorship program hosted by the Restorers of the Breach Ministries there in Orange Hill. And you know, I want us to continue to encourage our young people in our communities wherever we are, and primarily our young men. We want to give them that support and show them that we are rooting for them and that we are here for them, and that, you know, we just give them what they need in this specific time so that they can advance the cause. And these young men are talking about, you know, walking in destiny and purpose. How exciting is that to hear young men, you know, talking about mentoring other young people in the same vein as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio this morning. And as we go for a break, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Standards Black Friday deal starts now with 35% off select televisions, 30% off select appliances, 25% off Christmas decor, 15% off select divans, 20% off select furniture, and you can shop in store and online. Standards Black Friday deal. Nobody beats us on price. Believe it.
Tobago, your voice matters. The Police Complaints Authority invites the public to its community outreach session. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to attend and give us feedback. Join us Thursday, 14th November at the Canaan Bonaccord Multipurpose Facility from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come share your thoughts, raise your concerns, and learn about how the PCA serves to ensure accountability within our police service. Your input makes a difference. Let's work together for a safer, stronger community. The Police Complaints Authority. Independence, integrity, and transparency in action.
Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
And you're listening to the voice of Shania Joseph. Yes, and she is a semi-finalist for the Tobago Star Quest. Semi-finals take place this Thursday at the Shore Park Complex. And guess who's in studio with me this morning? None other than Shania Joseph. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And of course, you know, a very, very brave song choice there for the preliminaries. And I think you did a good rendition there. And that is why you qualified for the semi-finals. How does it feel to be among talent in Tobago? Because you've seen so many talents, so many persons taking the Star Quest stage. And of course, with talent. And now we have a semi-finals, which you have qualified for. And you're entering in on Thursday. How does it feel to be a part of it all?
I feel I'm very happy that I made it to the semi-finals. I thank StarQuest for encouraging the youths, especially of Tobago. Tobago have a lot of talent, and I thank you to this Tobago StarQuest Next Level for embracing the talent of Tobago. And I thank you, and I hope that I myself encourage youths to come out to the next round, hopefully, and show what we've got, because Tobago got a lot of talent. So yeah, I feel blessed.
And what is it like for you in terms of preparing and to select a song? Because as I mentioned, that was a very, very brave song choice, you know. A big voice, Etta James there singing that rendition of At Last. What is it like when you prepare? How do you determine which song you're going to sing, and how long does it take to get a practice in to feel confident enough to take the stage?
Oh, so very hard actually. So to the youths, we as singers especially, we have a lot of discipline. We have to be very disciplined. So it's no chips, no cold juice, no cold water, especially for the hard songs I choose. I really like to challenge myself. So yeah, we just take time. I'll sing songs on a regular, like I'll be in the bathroom, I'll be singing, and my mommy will be like, Shania, singing this song. And I'll be like, okay. I will just put more work into it, and you know, yeah. That's just about it.
So it takes that measure of discipline, denying yourself things like, as you mentioned, the cold drinks and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, I appreciate the discipline and the effort that you put into it in terms of knowing that you have to practice one and you have to put some things on the back burner for now to achieve your goals. Now, going into the semifinals, taking that stage, how do you feel in terms of standing among the talent that you mentioned that is here on the island of Tobago? Because I believe there are 19 of you for the first semifinals. How do you feel being among that measure of talent on the island of Tobago and to be selected to stand before a live audience to do your talent, your skill, that thing that you're passionate about? How does it make you feel as a person?
I feel like an idol to someone else. I feel like when I get on stage, it's not Shania Joseph, but it's Shania Joseph. It's just a place for me to just show who I am and who I can be, who can inspire others. Yeah. I have a unique voice. I don't have a voice of a regular, you know, person. So I truly believe that I feel unique amongst the others. I feel different.
Okay. And in terms of preparing for the semifinals, after you realize, okay, I'm getting into the semifinals, what did it take for you to mentally get in the mental space, prepare your, as you said, your vocals, and all? What was it like in terms of, okay, the performance is on Thursday, so I need to get this done, I need to get that done. What was that period like for you, and also your experience from the preliminaries up to the semifinals?
I love to mention a lot of things here, but most important, just as I say, just stay disciplined. It's very hard to see that I see that my siblings could eat chicken and I can't. Yeah, that was probably the most hardest part where it was just, that was just most, you know, having to stay on track, having a very unstable balance of, you know, diet. I couldn't eat certain stuff. I was just like, Shania, let's just push with this. Tuesday's right there. You know, let me just get this over with. That was just mostly it. Having to sing the same song every night. Mommy would be like, come on, let us sing this again. Sing it again. Yeah, that was just about it. Nothing much.
But then you can't say when you get to Thursday, then that's it. Because what if you get into the finals? You still have to go again.
Right.
I'm sure that's the ultimate goal, to get into the finals. What is your overall hope? I mean, when you enter a competition, it's to win. You don't enter a competition to come second place. So what is your overall goal, and what do you want to do after StarQuest?
I want to make sure that youths, again, they embrace their talents and they come to expose what they have inside, because most times we feel like that we don't have a safe space to pursue whatever we think is our talent. I really like for youths to come out and do what they have to do. My goal is just to make sure maybe when I do win this competition, that I put someone else to replace myself, to show Tobago that this is it. My other goal, my biggest goal, is to make sure that I bless the hearts of others and represent my school, my family, and my country. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And you know, Shania, I wish you the very best as you take that stage on Thursday night. And thank you so much for coming in this morning and telling us about your journey and your expectations for StarQuest. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Shania Joseph, a semi-finalist for the Tobago StarQuest Next Level. The first semi-finals takes place this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. So if you want to come out, it's a live recording. You can come out and support your favorite act. There are 19 of them. So you can come out, give that measure of support. And as Shania said, of course, Tobago is full of talent, and we want to encourage the young people primarily, and all those who have taken that stage. It is a very, very courageous thing to do, to stand in front of hundreds of persons to deliver a talent for them. So do come out and give them that support. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we have to end the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. But it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT. And as we go, we want to wish you a very good day. And we do invite you to help us. Share the live. Share the live. Share the live. Stay with us.
My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you, oh, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own, and I found a my cheeks to a thrill that I have never known. Oh yeah, yeah. You smile. Oh, and then the spell was cast, and here we are. For you are mine at last. For you are mine. For you are mine.
decided to do this. And by this, I mean recognize publicly the persons that not only participated in the 2024 edition of the Tobago Heritage Festival, but the persons who put their best feet forward, put their talent on display. This morning we are here to recognize the winners across the categories in the Tobago Heritage Festival Calypso Monarch competition, our folk fiesta, our Junior Miss Heritage competition, and to distribute checks to our community groups that participated.
Hi, I am Gavi Sandy. I participated in the Tobago Heritage Calypso Monarch and I am the winner, second time in a row. I'm very excited, not only about collecting the check, but collecting it at a faster time than last year. You know, that's something I really appreciate. They put in the effort to pay out the monies faster, and I truly appreciate that.
I am Lesbian Ellis, mother of Gavi Sandy, and I placed in the Tobago Calypso Heritage Monarch, and I placed fourth, second time in a row. While I appreciate getting the money earlier than last year, I wish I had it for my birthday, which was in September.
We are grateful for the monies because, you know, we work very hard, and I mean, when you work hard, you must get paid. But apart from that, you know, we take pride in our culture. We do not do it for the money. We do it to keep the culture alive, to spread, you know, the information, you know, the knowledge. So that's and for the fun, we enjoy what we do.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
We're thrilled to announce the Tobago Agri-Tech Innovation Summit 2024. This transformative event taking place from December 2nd to 3rd at the Shore Park Complex will focus on the theme Climate Change, Resilience and Adaptation in Agriculture. As the first of its kind on the island, the summit aims to position Tobago as a leader in agricultural innovation, addressing climate change challenges and showcasing agri-tech solutions that will shape how we grow our food, manage resources, and ensure our sustainable future.
The Tobago Agri-Tech Innovation Summit is about more than introducing technology. It is about creating a mindset shift. We want our farmers to not just survive, but to flourish in a modern, tech-enabled agricultural landscape. This event will provide practical training and workshops for farmers on digital farm management, precision agriculture, and innovative practices.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we're stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
And welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Finance Minister Colm Imbert has defended Trinidad and Tobago's fixed foreign exchange rate, emphasizing its role in controlling inflation despite International Monetary Fund calls for more flexibility. The IMF, citing the need to align with its policies, has long urged Trinidad and Tobago to remove forex restrictions and allow the exchange rate to fluctuate. However, Imbert argued that floating the dollar would raise the cost of living without increasing forex availability. Meanwhile, opposition MP Davindranath Tanku stressed that while they oppose devaluation, transparent forex allocation and policies fostering investment are essential to resolve the crisis. Additionally, Barataria Sanwa MP Saddam Hussein has called on Attorney General Reginald Amor to disclose the fees paid to attorneys representing the state in a recent Privy Council hearing in London. The case involved an appeal by Finance Minister Colm Imbert and the Cabinet concerning the constitutionality of an investigation into Auditor General Jaywanti Ramdas, which Hussein feared could compromise the Auditor General's independence. Hussein criticized the appeal as a misuse of public funds and urged the Attorney General to account for all expenses, including legal fees and travel costs, especially given recent requests for significant legal budgetary allocations. And finally, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine, in a presentation on Tobago's autonomy, highlighted the historical and ongoing struggle of Tobago for self-determination. He noted since gaining independence in 1962, Trinidad and Tobago has generally overlooked efforts to decolonize the relationship between the islands, often denying Tobago's quest for autonomy. Augustine noted that the recent bills in Parliament represents Tobago's latest attempt to achieve a legal and institutional framework for self-governance. The push aligns with international human rights standards, emphasizing that the right to self-determination, recognized by the United Nations, should enable Tobago to contribute more effectively to Trinidad and Tobago's development. And that was on News in 90 Seconds. Now, this morning we're going to have a number of interesting and educational conversations. But before we get into that, we'll take a break right here and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Standards Black Friday deal starts now with 35% off select television, 30% off select appliances, 25% off Christmas decor, 15% off select divans, 20% off select furniture, and you can shop in store and online. Standards Black Friday deal. Nobody beats us on price. Believe it.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, this morning we are speaking with author and creator Aloma Woods. Good morning and welcome. And we also have her colleague who is online that's going to be joining us, Mr. Quincy Joseph, who is a youth leader. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Chanel. I am Karen Barth Alexander from Tobago CivilNet.
Oh, sorry about that. We have another interview scheduled for this slot, so that's my bad. So yeah, we do have CivilNet talking about the turning of the tide of crime this morning. So we want to welcome you so much to this conversation. After you, we're going to be talking a bit about education.
Okay.
So this morning we are talking about all that CivilNet has been doing to be a part of that fight against crime on the island. Now, we've seen a huge surge in crime this year, particularly in Tobago, and we see a lot of press conferences happening when something happens. But there needs to be an ongoing conversation. There needs to be ongoing action on all that has to be done to fight crime. And it's not just a governmental fight. It's a fight that has to be taken to the streets, as a lot of persons say. It's a fight that everyone has to be a part of. And so the Tobago CivilNet has taken that thrust towards being a part of that fight with this series, a 4-week series that you're having called Turning of the Tide of Crime and Violence. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yes, Chanel. Actually, we have been looking at the fact that a lot of our efforts at crime fighting are efforts that are done after the fact. And crime is a preventable disease. And because it's a preventable disease and because it affects the health of the public, we are aware that persons are very much affected by crime physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually as well. So it is very, very much a public health issue. And it being a public health issue, we found out that crime is best approached from a public health perspective. And that public health perspective helps us to do it in a way that is not scattershot, in a very methodological way, in a very systematic way, and so on. So since 2008, we tried, that's a group called the GAIAP Violence Prevention, Peace and Love Movement. We tried to introduce that public health approach to Trinidad and Tobago. For that purpose, we had a session with Professor Ulrich Johnson, and it was called Gang and School Violence Analysis and Solutions. Then in 2009, we did Why Kids Are Failing, Ailing, and Misbehaving, a fresh perspective on joyful learning, and the presenter was Camille Swap. Then 2010, I think it was, we did Ready to Learn, Ready to Win with Dr. David L. Kind, and that was in collaboration with Camille Swap and Associates. And in 2011, we had a workshop on Parents, Why Gangs Protect Your Children. And in all of these interventions, the public health approach was promoted as an area, a methodology that can be used by Trinidad and Tobago to deter crime, because Professor Johnson had let us know that in Boston, they were able to get a 4-year hiatus from murder when they introduced the public health approach. But having dropped the ball after a time, things kind of deteriorated again. So we saw where it works, and it works well. And as a result of that, Tobago CivilNet has decided, let us try to introduce this approach to the Tobago space. And we are doing that with a 4-part symposium. We first wanted to bring in Dr. Johnson. We wanted to have an all-day symposium where we bring in all the stakeholders and devise an action plan for implementation. But unfortunately, we were not supported in that move. The Division of Health and Wellness had indicated their support at first and then they withdrew. We still don't know why. But nevertheless, we have decided to go ahead and, we sort of reorganized it to suit our pockets and our budget. And the Eastern Credit Union, they were very, very good to us. And they gave us a grant, a small grant, and we were able to put it together with our little funds that we have in Tobago CivilNet and change the format. So we now have a 4-part symposium in which we will have 4 presenters. The first one is Quincy Joseph. May God rest Quincy Jones' soul. The first one is Quincy Joseph, and Quincy is going to have a discussion in which he is going to speak with an host on crime and taxation. Is gang violence worth the price? And he is going to go into the fact that crime pays, but the outcome is much more than the income.
Right.
The expense related to the outcome is much higher than the income, and therefore it is not profitable. So he is going to have a conversation that shows the youth that crime does not pay, really. It's not profitable. It does not make sense, and so on. So we are hoping that is going to take place on the 12th. That is going to take place on the 12th of November, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, from 6 p.m. And it is virtual. So persons can log in via Facebook, Tobago CivilNet Facebook page, or they can also register on that page if they want to have the Zoom link. So that's tomorrow. Then the following Tuesday, we have Dr. David Muhammad. And Dr. David Muhammad is well known as a sociologist and activist. His whole thesis, his doctorate has been around youth and violence and so on, and deviance and all of that. And he is going to be speaking on the untold truth about society's failure to develop our youth. So that too promises to be very interesting because Dr. Muhammad, he has a very interesting intellect. He has a unique intellect, and he sees things that many people do not see, and therefore he is going to be sharing with us the similarities, the differences between crime in Tobago and crime in Trinidad, where they cross-cut each other, and the external influences on both. So that is going to be a very, very interesting conversation as well. It is taking place from 6 to 8 p.m. next Tuesday. That is Tuesday the 19th of November. And that is going to be followed by Camille Swap. And Camille has a very interesting take on the education system and joyful learning and why it's important for our youth and why its absence in the system and the absence of us using the education system to tailor learning to the development of the child, the age and stage of development. What we do in our education system is that we teach people how to pass exams, but we do not tailor the education to the development level of the child. And she has been pointing out to us how important it is to know the developmental stages and to deal with education, relate education to the development stage of the child. So her topic is going to be Joyful learning as an antidote to failing, ailing, and misbehaving among the youth. So she is presenting joyful learning as one of the answers, and learning from a developmental perspective as one of the answers to the failures and misbehaviors that we are seeing among the young people. And finally, on the fourth occasion, which is December 3rd, from 6 to 8 again, we have Professor Ulrich Johnson. Now, he is going to speak on the public health approach to crime and violence. And he is very, very, very interested. Do not miss Dr. Ulrich Johnson, because he's a Trinidadian, first of all, a Trinidadian and Tobagonian. And he failed common entrance. But he went abroad just after. They discovered that one of his problems was that he was not seeing properly.
Right.
And Dr. Johnson became Professor Ulrich Johnson, Professor Emeritus now, because he's retired. But he was the Dean of Human Services at the Boston University and all of that. A very successful man and very, very qualified in several areas. And he is the one who is going to help us through to understand the public health approach to crime and violence, how it works, how we apply it, and so on. So we are very interested in seeing a lot of various stakeholders log into our session. The police, the law enforcement people, the judiciary, the teachers, the parents, the community leaders. We want to see everybody participate, and if the criminals, people involved in crime, it will be very good for them to be able to listen and understand where they are at, what has happened to them, how they got to where they are, how they will get out of where they are, where it is they can go next.
Right.
And
you indicated that you would have engaged the Division of Health. However, they are no longer one of your sponsors, but are they, as well as the Division of Community Development, engaged to be a part of these discussions?
Yes, we have sent invitations to them because we want them to be part of it. Because, you see, dealing with crime and violence as preventable diseases has to be an all-of-society approach. So it is not just the government. Of course, all the agencies of government can be involved and are supposed to be involved, but also the communities, the community leaders, all the village councils and the counselors and the people who deal with the school counseling and so on, the guidance officers at the schools and so. We would like to really reach everyone. And the thing about reaching everyone is that when the government fails and falls down, in the sense that they do not take up the ball and run with it, we, the people, are the ones who should be able to put some pressure on them and say, this works, try it. We want to see this happen. And so we want everybody, the general public, and if it is possible that people can, gather groups together and have a screen, a TV screen or whatever, and bring in, have a group look at the program, that is going to be good, and they can discuss it together and so on.
Excellent. Now we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to be back as we continue our discussions on this Turning the Tide series hosted by the Tobago Civil Net, focused on crime and violence in Tobago, a public health approach. Guys, we take a break right here and we see you soon.
Black Friday starts now at Courts. Get new and amazing deals every week with the lowest prices on the hottest electronics, top-of-the-line appliances, and stylish furniture. No need to waste your time shopping around. Plus, you can shop now and pay us in February 2025. Black Friday starts now. Don't miss out. Courts, bringing value home.
have been talking about the Turning the Tide series to combat crime and violence being held by the Tobago Civil Net. I'm happy to say we now have our youth leader, Mr. Quincy Joseph, joining us online along with Mrs. Karen Bat Alexander here in studio. Good morning, Quincy, and welcome. Now, you are a part of this series, and you have chosen to share your experience and your proposed solution and recommendations for, you know, young persons who are in that lifestyle, as well as the policy makers on more positive and effective approaches to dealing with crime. You know, you in your presentation are focusing on the fact that though crime may pay, it really isn't worth the cost. So tell us a bit about that.
Right, so good morning to Tobago, good morning to Trinidad. If you know we have viewers watching, good morning, Karen. We got Luke. I don't know if Luke's around. Tobago updates. So yes, Quincy Joseph, and again, you know, we often try to discourage people from doing stuff with myths. And then when people discover that these myths are not, you know, factual, then our whole case falls through. So to tell a youth that crime doesn't pay, when he lives 2-3 houses from the block and he sees the drug dealers in the Benz on a Tuesday and the Tida on a Thursday and then the Hilux on a Sunday with, you know, a Spanish on a Wednesday and a darky on a Friday. And, you know, he's glorified, he's respected, he's revered. You know, the things that us young males align with manhood is really, you know, defeating the purpose. Crime does pay. There wouldn't be so much criminals, there wouldn't be a recurring, you know, crime issues if crime doesn't pay. But you see them taxes, because I had to pay some of them taxes. You see losing loved ones, you see getting a call that your father passed and you're locked up with a 104-year sentence and there's no way possible you could attend the funeral. You know, seeing your mom get gray and old in front of your eyes, you know. Things that money cannot buy, you know, your freedom, you know, just, you know, imagine you as a youth consider yourself a toppy and a little scrawny, little nashy somebody telling you, hey, time to go in your cell. You know, so crime does pay, but the taxes, everything in life has taxes, and in the 9-to-5, they know sometimes you work that overtime. And you think, well, yeah, you get through because you clock an extra double shift on a Sunday and you get time and a half into double, into triple. But when that tax man finish with you, it's better to just make a regular 40 hours. So, you know, I deal with harsh realities. I deal with a lot of truths, a lot of, you know, I try to ignore the elephant. We don't ignore the elephant in the room, sorry. And sometimes it is offended, but sometimes you got to hurt people's feelings to save their lives, you know?
Right. And so you are primarily targeting persons who are involved in that life, as well as the policymakers, for more effective means of helping persons to stay clear of crime and gang violence. And for you, what do you think is one of the core elements that often go overlooked when trying to steer young persons away from that lifestyle?
I think one of the core elements we overlook is that times have changed and the youth nowadays are not us or our grandmothers, you know. They have more information. We live in the information age. So you cannot use the boogeyman stories to... So that's one of the things, dealing with truth, being able to put your finger on the pulse, and the intellectuals, the lawmakers, the policymakers must give credit and must give respect and make a space, a real space, not a space just for optics, but a real space for the grassroots. It must be it must really reflect together we aspire. So the intellectual, the lawmakers, the policymakers, the government, the ministers, they have to give a serious a consideration to the views and to the experiences of guys and girls, as we say, like myself, people who still in the mud, people who still connected, because the reality is you would be out of touch. Now, if you tell a minister or a policymaker they're out of touch, they would take it as disrespectful. No. When last you come in the ghetto, when last you go down in Buku or in Plymouth or Charlottesville, big up the man them in Castara. When last you really go and sit down amongst them, cameras off, not no campaign, not just sit down and vibes with them, sit with them, give them a listening ear, not a hearing ear, but a listening ear. So you need the people on the ground, just like the people on the ground need the people up top. A plane need wings to fly, but it also need wheels to land.
Chanel, I would like to add here that one of the things that we overlook with gang violence is the fact that gang violence is a symptom. It's not a cause. One of the causes of gang violence is the fact that people love to get together in groups. We are a social people. We are a people who understand that you do better in a group. But what kind of group? The young people want to belong to something. They want to feel validated. They want to feel recognized. And for many of them, saying, I'm a gangster, is what gives them some kind of feeling of belonging, or some kind of feeling of recognition and validation. And we have to understand that. So it is not something that we could look at on the surface. We have to look at the fact that we have all kinds of gangs in the society. Some are good and some are bad. But the bottom line is that people want to belong. They want to have a sense of belonging, a sense of being a part of something, a sense of being validated as being somebody. And who am I if I feel that I am nothing and no one? And for many people, being a gangster is what gives them a sense of validation.
Right. So Tobago CivilNet would be hosting this 4-week series, and it starts from tomorrow, Tuesday the 12th at 6 p.m. and it's online, and you can go to the Tobago CivilNet page and you can collect the link there and be prompt to be a part of that. But the discussion would also be live on your
the Facebook page.
Right.
Yes.
So you just visit the Tobago CivilNet on Facebook, and you can be a part of that. Now, if you have questions and you want to join, you can also add those questions to the Facebook page. And I have the privilege of hosting a couple of these discussions, so I look forward to being a part of that as well, because we now are seeing crime and violence here as a public health crisis that needs to be dealt with from an administrative level. But as I said in my introduction, it's not just something where the government has to fight crime. We need all hands on deck. We need the guys on the street. We need parents on deck. We need teachers on deck.
That's right.
We need the media on deck.
That's
we
right.
Need all hands
community
on deck.
leaders, everybody. And this is what the public health approach does. It helps you to determine what are the risk factors within all of these contexts, whether it is parenting, whether it is in the community, whether it is in the schools, whether it is in law enforcement, and all of those areas. So it is a very comprehensive approach.
Right. And Quincy, what would you like to see coming out of this entire series?
Well, I have been doing some work in Tobago for the last 2.5 to 3 years with my organization. And I know that Tobago is ripe for problems, but I know it is also ripe for solutions, because I've heard that the person closest to the problem is also the person closest to the solution. So I'd like to encourage people who I know have been working hard in Tobago, people like Ms. Ria Moore and the Charlottesville Police Youth Club. You have people like Ms. Laverne Simon, you have Mr. Niall George, who I've had conversations with. You have, I met Mr. Sonny Craig, I believe, in Buku. I would ask all the youth leaders, all the community, all the patriots. You see what I have on this morning here? All the patriots of Tobago, because we're dealing with Tobago specifically. Reach out to the youth, the school teachers, reach out to your children, reach out to your community organization, reach out to your youth league, and tell them you're popping some popcorn tomorrow. And all you're meeting somewhere and you're all having an educational line, a fun line, a line to preserve not just the integrity, but the economic sustainability of the island, because crime runs away business. Even to the ghetto youth and them, you cannot make money and war at the same time. The only person who benefits is the man who just build caskets, the man who just rent tents and tables and chairs for your wake, and these type of things. So I would like, before we talk about what I'd like to see coming out of it, this is what I would like to see going into it, where Tobago stands up with the Tobago Civil Net and encourage the youths. Let the youths them see that the elders, regardless of community, ethnicity, race, political affiliations, regardless whether you're tall, you're short, crime affects every single person. Big up Buku one time this morning and my whole family them.
Excellent, excellent.
And
All
I
right.
would like to big up Rodney Piggott, who is our chairman and who leads CivilNet, in a very structured and professional manner, so that, CivilNet is able to accomplish quite a lot as a very young organization. We have a telephone number that can be called, or it's WhatsApped for information, 732-7630. That's 732-7630.
And so persons can call if they would like to contact the organizations. Guys,
Yes.
we're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to return with much more conversation right after this. Again, thank you to CivilNet and see you soon.
Tobago, your voice matters. The Police Complaints Authority invites the public to its community outreach session. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to attend and give us feedback. Join us Thursday, 14th November at the Canaan Bonaccord Multipurpose Facility from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come share your thoughts, raise your concerns, and learn about how the PCA serves to ensure accountability within our police service. Your input makes a difference. Let's work together for a safer, stronger community. The Police Complaints Authority. Independence, integrity, and transparency in action.
Standards Black Friday deal starts now with 35% off select television, 30% off select appliances, 25% off Christmas decor, 15% off select divans, 20% off select furniture, and you can shop in store and online. Standards Black Friday deal. Nobody beats us on price. Believe it.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. And we continue our conversation, and we're talking all things education, all things literacy. And to have this conversation with me this morning, I'm happy to be sitting with Miss Aloma Woods, who is an author and creator. And you have authored Achieving Reading Excellence, or as we call it. Now, is this your first book?
Yes, it is my first book. Good morning, everyone.
Right, and are you an educator by profession?
By profession, I'm actually an executive assistant. I would have worked in the NGO sector, and I would have been writing. I've done teaching in the past and business consulting. So it's a combination of several things. And because of my experiences in writing, proposal writing, reports, etc., I would have combined that skill and my knowledge to create this book.
Right. And what really makes you passionate about children and adult literacy?
Because of my experience, I think based in the NGO sector, it would have allowed me, and that experience would have showed me what were some of the shortfalls. Even in the reading books that they currently have, it's kind of difficult for a parent who isn't familiar with the process to be able to transition that knowledge to their child. I found that there were certain gaps, and I wanted to basically apply what I knew and to fill in those gaps so that parents now don't have to wonder or worry what the process entails.
Right. And your book, Achieving Reading Excellence, you spend a lot of time, I'm guessing, going through a number of scientific formulas and frameworks on what works and what doesn't work. But you yourself has created your own framework, and you call it the BLEM Viz Dep. Tell us a bit about that.
The BLEM Viz Dep approach is an acronym, and what it means is the blended learning educational approach that incorporates your mental capacity, your visual segmentation, and vowel, consonant vowel words. It also includes sight words, short words, digraphs and diphthongs, silent E and the other rules, and the last P could be summarized as phonics. So the short of it is like Viz Dep. What exactly do you need to know in order to teach your child to read? I wanted persons and parents, when they hear the name, to understand from the onset, these are the things that I need to know. Your vowels, you need to know your consonants, you need to know your sight words, your short words, your blending techniques, your phonics, your digraphs, your diphthongs, and incorporate that so that immediately they get a sense of what is important, what they need to focus on in order to transfer that knowledge to their child.
Right. And have you had any discussions with the Division of Education about how you can possibly incorporate some of your literacy frameworks into some of the work that they are trying to do there?
Yes, we did. We just started the discussion of how we are going to integrate the approach. The documents and letters were sent about the initial concept of what the project is, and we'll be making arrangements to meet with the different schools, the principals, the PTA association, to have a conversation with them as well, and to discuss how this can basically help parents. So by the time the children are to school, preschool, primary school, they are already advanced in their reading.
And you said that this approach can work from kids from 3 years old and up. But what about, the little geniuses that are even 2 years old or even younger, who you want to start them reading from very early? What do you recommend?
Because it's a complete guide, it incorporates everyone. It actually starts with tips and recommendations of the process of what to do. Read to them while you're pregnant, for example. What is important for them to know? The alphabet, the phonics, the phonemes, the songs. It incorporates all that information, and it transitions from preschool to primary school, even into adulthood. So it's a long-term book. It also incorporates like literacy, letter writing techniques, and numeracy up to numbers 20. So it's a compilation, of several things that is going to assist parents in the process to give children the advancement and the projection that they need to succeed.
Right. And now with the advent of social media and screen time becoming a bit closer. Now, it's not like we were not exposed to screen time before. I grew up watching TV as well. Persons often make it seem like it's only now that's kids are having screen time. Screen time has existed for a long time. However, screen time is becoming a lot closer, and now they are exposed to more content at a frequent rate, shorter clips more frequently. So this has shown to scientifically reduce young person's attention span. So now we're dealing with young children who are already very energetic, but now their attention span is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter. How does the BLEMVIS DEP approach help to combat that short attention span?
One of the things it was designed was based on persons or children who may possibly have ADHD, because I would have had experiences and interaction with children on different spheres of the spectrum, ADHD, mild autism, etc. So it gives parents a lot of tips and information. It introduces games as well, and it allows them to tailor the approach of the program to adapt it to their child. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all. Because you're now aware of the information to transition that parental knowledge, it allows you to tailor it to suit your child. Yes, there are basic things that they would need to be guided by, but because of the vast scope of knowledge that is contained, persons can easily adapt it to suit their child.
Right. And so involved in this Achieving Reading Excellence book are a number of tips and lessons and approaches that can be used or that parents can tailor specifically to their child and their circumstance, their situation. Tell us a bit about what we can expect from the book. How is it structured?
The first thing you can expect basically is like a success map. So depending on the age of your child, because we have different age ranges, the success map guides you on what you need to know, and before you transition to the other areas, what should be known. So the success map guides you on what are the most critical areas that parents should focus on. And then after the success map, it starts with the basics, the alphabet, the phonemes, the songs, the letter names, blending, etc. And it transitions from there. One of the differences with this is that it takes a step-by-step practical approach, because I would have found that in time you found gaps between how do you transition teaching your child from a blending simple 2-letter word to a 5-letter word or a 12-letter word. By the time they see that, they immediately get scared. So it teaches you how to build up their confidence, how to differentiate it, how to sound it out, how to put it together. And then it also teaches you information pertaining to sentence structure and how do you read sentences, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension.
Excellent, excellent. And now if we want to get a copy of the book, whether it be a soft copy or a physical copy, where can we get the book?
Well, presently the book has to be pre-ordered because the first print run hasn't taken place as yet. We're looking to do that in December. So you can contact me through 305-0034 or on social media or WhatsApp message on Facebook. That is Achieving Reading Excellence _ PTDT, and send me a message there. Later on in the day and in the week, as we keep on rolling out, we'll have other social media avenues available. But for now, they can contact me easily on 305-0034 to pre-order the book.
Right. And what if parents or organizations wanted to reach out to you, particularly whether it be to give a presentation or to tutor a particular group of students? Can they also reach out to you via 305-0034?
Most definitely, most definitely.
That's 305-0034, and you can reach out to Miss Aloma Woods and contact her and be a part of all that she's doing to increase children and adult literacy here on the island of Tobago. Why is it important for persons to go out and get the book and support the movement?
Because the foundational knowledge is important that parents have that knowledge. I think over the past years, because the pedagogy has changed, a lot of parents has a tendency to rely on teachers. And because of the curriculum and what is required, it has moved away from that. So I'm trying to bring back the paradigm shift. If parents know, it becomes easier by the children by the time that they are in school. and it helps them. Once you have that reading foundation, it impacts all your other studies, and that is what we're trying to increase.
Right. You're also going to launch a website with practical tools, maybe for some of the bigger students, some of the preteens, the teens. Tell us about that, and how can parents use that as a tool to help the more grown kids learn how to read?
One of the things I considered was that there are different modalities and learning types, because some people are visual learners, some are kinesthetic, etc. So I wanted the different methods to be available. Even someone who is illiterate or can't read at all, I wanted to be able to facilitate them and give them that option. So that will be actually launched next year, where we would have the website completed and we will have like an online course. So let's just say, for example, you weren't able to purchase the book, or you weren't able to attend a live session or a training session. You can log on online on the website, which will be www.achievingreadingexcellence.com, and you can take the course at your own pace in the privacy of your own home and still have the ability to excel.
Right. And so the entire Achieving Reading Excellence program is about giving parents the necessary tools that they need to help their children to read. And what are some of the biggest challenges you find that parents encounter when trying to help their children read?
The main challenge was definitely lack of information and lack of knowledge. If you were to ask persons, because there were times that I did surveys and polls, they didn't know. Some of them knew that, yes, you need to know the alphabet. And some of them knew that, yes, you need to know vowels, but then what next? That was the biggest gap. They didn't know the process of how to exactly teach a child to read. Because when I was younger, the process has changed over the time. Now we have things like digraphs and diphthongs, and persons aren't aware of that. Those are like two vowels and two letters making one sound or a different song. And it actually makes the reading process easier. So giving them that knowledge, giving them that information, and allowing them to now transition it to their child, it definitely bridges the gap. There's also a lot of misinformation, because some people believe that once you learn sight words, that's it, your child can read. Just practice with the sight words. But no, sight words isn't enough. You need blending, you need phonics, you need several things. It's a multifaceted approach. And it was important for them to know what these steps are.
Excellent. So we want to thank you so much, Ms. Woods.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you have been doing. Although
Thank you.
This is not even your industry. Yeah? You are an executive assistant, but yet you are extremely passionate about children and adult literacy. And I guess this is what it's meant by, what your work is as opposed to what your purpose is.
True.
And so I see you walking in your purpose, and I hope that you continue to do that.
Thank you.
And I hope that you get the support and recognition for all that you have been doing. And I hope that Tobagonians go out and support by purchasing the book, Achieving Reading Excellence, and being a part of that entire program, whether it be being a part of her in-person sessions, or, calling her to be a part of your program, or simply visiting her website when it's up and running. Achieving Reading Excellence by utilizing the BLEM-VIS-DEP method. Again, we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for all the information that you have put out there. And I hope to be able to grab a copy of your book when it is released. Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of the discussion this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, thank you and have a great day.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new